What is up, my brothers? I am super excited to be sitting here with my friend, my brother, Rohan Francis. What's going on, my man?
Hey, Todd, how are you?
So good to see you, man. I mean, we were just talking before we started the recording on this video, and Rohan, as you're going to find out, has been a part of our programs for a while, about 6-7 months now, and entered into the Warrior Challenge and then continued on in our 6-week longer term program. And somebody that has this infectious, vital, vibrant personality. Every time he gets on a call, you can just feel his presence and energy. And it's really been an honor to have Rohan as part of our group and community. For those of you that have been on our calls, you can hear the value that he adds into what we do. And so I brought him on today because I want to find out a little bit more about, why he's here, what he gets out of Man for Man, what he's gotten out of the challenge and all the programs that he's doing with us. I think it's really helpful to share. And when we were just framing this out before we hit record, Rohan is a leader. This is somebody that's been in the fitness industry for a long time. He manages big teams. Like, he's been very successful in his career, and he's taken this as an opportunity. And again, I don't want to steal your thunder, Rohan, but I just want to frame it out. He's taken this as an opportunity to kind of be a student, is what he shared, and to kind of learn growth perspectives, which is really, really powerful. Because I think a lot of guys come in here, wanting and curious about, like, what is it like to say yes to my own growth and development in a way that I haven't done before. So I want to welcome you onto the call, brother. And I want to hear how that resonates for you. And in your own words, like, share kind of why you kind of initially said yes to this and me and the programs and what you've gotten out of it, the best you can.
Absolutely, Todd. Well, thank you for having me on, Todd. And I initially connected with you when I saw something online. And many, many years ago, I'd connected with a group of guys where it was about men supporting men. And I definitely found value in that. So I imagine that, there was a seed that was planted there. So just as a person, I absolutely, I love people. I believe in people. I believe that we're all one. And part of the beauty of life is that we're not all the same, right? As men, some of us are taller, some of us are shorter. We come from different countries, different skin colors, whatever. However, I feel that, a lot of men perhaps don't have that opportunity to connect with other men in some way that is of value. A lot of us, in our, public, whatever, school before high school, university years, for some men, those are the best years of their lives, right? You finish university and then, you find a girl, you get married, you're in the job, and it's just all of that. And the pressures of family and relationship and work and so on. And those guys that you used to play sports with, have some beers with, whatever, where are they? So I definitely felt there was a value for me to connect with a group of guys. And what I found, Todd, was you just create an incredible space. I have so much appreciation and respect for how you facilitate. We have such a wide range of guys, different ages, different cultures. And I don't believe that there's a single man that would say that he feels anything negative when we're all present together. We can share, we can connect. And as you've stated, and which is really true, I believe that part of what makes it flow is that there's a structure to everything that you provide for us, whether it's, the 6-week challenge, the 6-day challenges, 6-week challenges, Tuesday tribes or whatever. So, as you said, I come from a situation where I lead a lot of people. I run a team of trainers for LA Fitness, one of their outlets, and love what I do. I love just helping people succeed on all levels, right? Making more money, better relationships, better fitness, being more educated. But I found myself in the space, which is really kind of interesting, just kind of like, all right, well, what's happening here, right? Like, it's sort of like just kind of giving up that leadership role and really being a student. And now that I'm talking about actually, I guess it feels different than kind of just taking a course, right? So, you take a course that's very academic, it's scientific, it's mathematic, whatever. Everything kind of adds up. But when you're dealing with self and emotions and past histories or whatever, it's not as tangible. So, what's really cool though, man, it's like, I'm really loving the ride. Right. And I feel that, I've expressed this to you, Todd, and I think that this is one of the things that I have to give to other men. One of the things is that, we have to remember to, there's a value in remembering to acknowledge those that are caring for us, right? Because there's a lot that goes into caring for others, right? Like, I appreciate, what you have to do to get things set up and so on and so forth. What I do as a leader, what other men do in a leadership position. And I feel that it does mean something when somebody says, hey, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate what you do. I love you, man. That sort of stuff. So, I think, you just provide this space as a facilitator, something with structure that makes the ride and the journey feel safe. And it's sort of like doing this trust exercise, right? I have this trust for you that, I just feel that I can just show up. And one of the things that I was saying to you offline was that, I've made a commitment that I need to be connected with you for at least a year. I absolutely believe that we'll be connected much longer than that, because I believe that what you're doing is just going to explode and get massive. Just who you are, the structure of it just creates this ride that I feel safe to just kind of say, okay, let's show up every week. Let's do what needs to be done and let's see what happens. So I'm really excited about the manifestations in my life. I've got one of my buddies, John Kay, that joined the Tuesday Tribes, and he does a bunch of podcasting, and there's an opportunity that he might connect to some other men. And I that's one of the things that I do. I'm a connector as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited about being able to reach out to other men that trust me, that I have a connection with, to say, hey, man, there's this space that I've got a bunch of brothers and I've got a leader, who's skilled at, creating a space where men can connect and just be with one another. So I'm super excited about, just helping to grow the space.
Yeah. Well, look, I am always so appreciative of your eloquence and your kind words about what we're doing. It's amazing. And I also want to just ask you a question, because when I hear you and I feel you, right? Like, obviously you love your career. It's something that you are natural at. You're gifted at leading teams and growing and being around people, obviously. Before we recorded this, you were sharing how, kind of being in this student space. And again, it's more of a community space, I think, that has a curriculum. I mean, there's both things. And I think that's what's kind of unique about this. And the fact that it's all guys, all men that are really doing this together. But I kind of felt your curiosity about your future, like you don't have specific answers about what these next steps are going to be, but you keep coming back to I'm actually just present and enjoying the journey. Right. And there's a really beautiful dichotomy in that, in terms of looking out and saying, transition is going to happen, because I feel when I look at you, there's going to be some changes in your life, probably professionally. And I don't know what that means. Maybe within LA Fitness, maybe, something else happens, or a new role or something bigger and better happens that you really want deep down to manifest. It feels like that's coming, maybe the stage in your life that you're in, but you're also just allowing it to unfold naturally and leading with the question, and also allowing yourself to surrender into a process and a brotherhood that has just got your back, that's here to support you. And you're finding value in that. And I think that's really important, because a lot of the guys that I'll interview like this may have very specific things that they've achieved. Oh man, I got rid of all my debt, or I found the love of my life. They'll say stuff like that. But this is a little different, right? You're in the process right now, and you're just loving and being present in the process and curious about your future, right? Because there is something more here for you, right? You can feel it. I can feel it when I talk to you. You don't necessarily know what it is yet. It doesn't have form yet, but it's going to, right? And that's exciting. So how does that all land for you when I kind of give that reflection?
Yeah, you know what? It's really exciting, and I'm really curious, because I really feel that you and the brothers are part of it. and it's yeah, it's sort of like what with this thing that's incubating, right? And I think there's a realness to it, right? So I love I think it was the last Tribes Before the New Year, where you described the three types of men that are kind of likely to be on the call, and the fact that some people may be distinctly a type of man, but it also could be that there's aspects of all three in all of us. So I think it's like what's happening for me, I think, is something that can happen by living it. I think it's something that will be relatable once we start seeing some manifestations of some very clear results. Because I think that there's something in our society, like it's interesting, you have a daughter and I have two daughters, and this whole nature nurture thing, right? And I think as a father who loves my girls, I see there's just moments where they're just being kids, and they may be challenging, and you're a little bit frustrated, and you want to raise your voice or whatever. And I always catch myself, and I'm not perfect. Yes, I've raised my voice, here and there, but my ultimate commitment is to create an environment where as little negative as possible is done towards my girls, and as much positive as possible is done, where in the end they will be people that have amazing self-esteem. So what I'm saying is that in our society, I believe that how many of us really got enough of what we needed to be the most balanced people? And even if we did, like, life is so varied and constantly changing. How many people have something which is sort of like that North Star that they can connect to kind of recalibrate with some consistency? And that's one of the really cool things. And I'm glad that you put it in place, the Tuesday Tribes, for people to connect with. And I think, Todd, one of the things that I believe that I bring to people presently, and it'll probably, reach a bigger audience, is just really being authentic, right? It's just really being say to people like, hey, listen, man, you know what? Like, you got to be you. But at the end of the day, hopefully, you want to move forward. You want something positive. So, if we can be okay with the fact that you're you and you're committed to moving forward. Okay, so what are some tangible things now that we need to have in place that's going to help you do that? And that is sort of what I see that you provide, that structure, the writing of the eulogy, the plans, the practices, that sort of stuff, right? So yeah, I just think that I'm going to be hopefully a graduate of your program that will be able to, people will be able to say, hey man, you know what, this dude is authentic. I can see that, he did the work, and hey, he's just a regular guy like me. So, if he could utilize these tools to get certain manifestations in his life to help him be a better husband, a better father, a better man, because like you said, there's something about men, right, where the idea of a tribe, the idea of these ceremonies and practices, that it's important, and I think so. How many men really have any aspect of that after university or high school? Yeah, you'll get that on your sports team and your fraternity and stuff like that. So there's a huge need, I believe, for what we're doing. And because, as men, we're important in society, right? We are important in society. We have an incredible role to play. You know what I mean? Yes, I love the empowerment of women and what women are doing, but it's like that saying, right? Which guy doesn't want to be that knight in shining armor, right? And which girl doesn't want that knight on the white horse, right? And so, I think programs like this, give us as men an opportunity to, be, to make some strides in being more of what we need to be as one part of, the gender duo, just to make this world a better place.
Hey, brother, I just want to give you some love on that, man. That is so beautifully said. And I think, what you represent to me when I look at you as somebody that has done pretty good in life, is still doing pretty good in life, and is just asking some bigger questions, right? And years ago, when I started doing this work in development and growth, I've been doing this for 20 years, this kind of work for 20 years. There wasn't a lot of guys coming to the forefront saying, you know what, man, I need a little amplifier. I need a little help. I need a little support. I need a brotherhood. I need a community. It really didn't exist, even 5 years ago. Okay. And what we're seeing right now, and maybe it's just the state of the world, the evolution of our species. I don't know. You can point to all these reasons why. But, in our culture right now, there are a lot of Todds and a lot of Rohans out there that are like, you know what, like I could do better, and I need help. And it's okay to say I need help, right? Because even though I'm facilitating this, don't have all the answers. If anything, what I'm doing is propelling men like you to just ask questions, bigger questions, and giving a structure that can allow you to ask these questions in a way that leads somewhere. And the place that it leads is towards that North Star, as you mentioned, of like, okay, well, what do I want to do in this life? And that's exciting. When I get up in the morning and I think about all the guys that we're working with, I'm like, how can I get these guys to think more exciting thoughts? Right? What a simple way to look at it. But how can I get you, Rohan, and all the guys that we're talking to in our calls, just to think more exciting thoughts, to have more inspiration and hope and excitement about their future? Because for the most part, when we're really honest with ourselves, that was kind of X'd out of us at some point along the way, becoming adults. All that stuff you talked about of getting married and getting the job and the money and the kids, and whatever life path our listeners here have, like life gets serious as an adult, and that excitement kind of gets beaten out of us for the most part. And here we are as a group of men, most of us in our 30s, 40s, 50s. We have guys in our 60s that do this, that are in this field. Yeah. I have a guy who's 72. He's like, you know what? I got another 30 years. I want to rock the 30 years. Like, what do you got, Todd? Right? It doesn't matter really what age. But at some point, a man says what I call the yes moment, where they raise their hand and they're like, you know what? I'm willing to look at myself. I'm willing to do some self-reflection. I'm willing to come into a community, hear what other guys have to say, and say yes. And I just want to honor you because I think that you really embody that. And also very beautifully, not somebody right now in the present moment who has these tangible manifestations like, oh, hey, Todd, I met you and here's my book. Or, hey, Todd, I met you and here's my blah, 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 right? The artifact isn't created yet. You're in process right now. And that's really important for us to hear because when you're in process, naming it and talking about it helps to propel the manifestation. It happens faster when we do it and it helps all of us. Everyone that's listening is like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm in process too. What am I creating? Where am I at in it? And you know what? You're going to reach a point where boom, like whatever that next thing is, it's just going to pop.
Yes.
And you can feel it, right? Like you could feel that's going to happen. I don't know what it is. You don't know what it is necessarily. You might have some ideas back there, but like, it's just kind of forming right now. So really, really beautiful, brother. I just want to, again, honor you for everything and for sharing here. Any last words you want to say to the brothers, just about anything, the process, what we're sharing, and then I'm going to let you go.
Absolutely. Well, brothers, regardless of whatever is going on for you, man, this group, this tribe, it's a place to be. Just show up in whatever state you are from week to week. And, just trust the process. I kind of just believe in just this universal energy, right? So, if you just have this concept, once you connect with Todd, make a commitment short term to not leave Todd for at least a year. And, if that's the framework, then just from week to week, just show up, keep showing up. And then, whatever's supposed to happen will happen. And just looking forward to just connecting with more and more of you. And Todd, love you, brother.
Love you, brother, man. So stay on for a moment. I'm going to say so long to everybody. Guys, thanks for being here listening. See what a gift Rohan is. And I'm glad you all got to meet him. So I'll see you guys all soon.